Welcome back to the show. There's no telling where we'll go. So come and share a laugh on the Imp and Skizz podcast.
Many years ago, you and I were playing Minecraft, and we were exploring. Somewhere, and we came across a library. Where's the library? What is that structure?
Like a stronghold?
Yes, thank you. We're in a stronghold. And we found a library, and we walked in, and you said, you know what I hate about libraries? And I said the Dewey Decimal System. And I knew in that moment that was going to be lost on a lot of people, because the Dewey Decimal System is how we used to find books in a library once upon a time. And this was before really proper use of computers, and more importantly, like since the internet had not even revealed itself. And it got me thinking, and you and I have talked about this, that you and I, Impulse, are part of a very rare generation that is probably not going to really be recognized for how curious it is for a while. Like history books in the future are going to talk about our generation as the generation that had a foot in both camps of pre-internet and post-internet.
We got to experience both.
Yeah.
Although, I mean, I will admit I was pretty young. I think I want to say my first experience on the internet was probably as a very early teen, maybe 13, 14, somewhere in there. And the internet was obviously, when it was new, there wasn't a lot to it that we knew what to use it for, really. And mostly it was just like chat rooms and stuff like that. You know, good old AOL, America Online, was our dial-up service. And it wasn't half of, it wasn't a fraction. I said half.
Not even a fraction.
It wasn't even a fraction of what it is now, obviously.
You're absolutely right. Yeah. It was the very, very beginning. And I mean, that dial-up was that.
It's iconic, dude.
It was just like
that dial-up sound. It's iconic,
Yeah.
If you play that sound, I think even, I wonder if kids, like my youngest, who is now 14, I wonder if I played that sound, just that sound, and said, can you identify this sound? And played that dial-up connection sound, if she would know what that is.
We've talked about it before, that clip out there of the dad who offers his either his son and his friend, or they were both brothers, I don't know, offers them money if you have 4 minutes to do this, and he shows them a rotary phone, make my cell phone ring from this, or whatever it was. And they were just couldn't figure it out. And it's old vintage stuff that we take for granted, but that's sort of where we're going, is that the future is going to be people who only know the existence of the internet, right? And behind us is the people who never experienced the internet. And you and I got to have a foot in both camps. And I remember, like you're saying, those very first experiences with having connectivity. I don't remember the first, website I went on or whatever, but I remember it was probably, what was it? AOL? Was that the first, or Yahoo? I don't even know what it is these days.
Yeah. The Netscape was like a browser.
Was that a browser, or was that an ISP?
I don't know.
See, we don't even know, right? It's been so long. But the bottom line is, I remember the very first thing I looked up, I'll never forget this. I looked up the Hindenburg. Remember the Hindenburg disaster? Because as a kid, I was always fascinated by that tragedy. It was just visually quite stimulating, was watching that blimp, go up in flames. And I remember looking up a video of it, and it was very broke. I mean, it comes from an old video anyways, but I remember watching it on my computer. It was the first thing I ever looked up. And I remember watching it in my brain, being blown away at the fact that this is a video that I'm watching that did not exist in my house. And I did a few strokes on a keyboard, and now I'm watching it. Now that notion right there, that energy is something that I think a lot of people, I don't even want to say take for granted, but they don't understand what the world is without it.
Yeah.
And we came from it. And I'm going back to I am full internet connectivity, dude, because today, if I'm traveling somewhere, you better believe I'm bringing up Google Maps. I bring it up when I know where I'm going.
Yeah, me
because
too.
it's going to tell me if there's traffic problems.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I did that the other day. I was heading to go ice skating, and I wanted to I've made this trip now 10 times, and I'm I know exactly where to go, but I brought it up just literally see oh, maybe there's an off ramp that's closed today because they have been doing construction and it was working its way that way. And I still bring it up, and I'm I had the same thought. I'm what would I do if I didn't have this? I would just start driving and and then I would figure it out.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like, oh, you can't go here. Okay, so you need to turn this direction, that direction. Maybe if I get lost, there's a paper map
Yeah.
in my car. I would
Yep.
pull over and get out and try to figure out where I was. But like right now, if all of that died and I was on a trip in a place like I didn't know, you
Yeah.
know, I wouldn't have a clue how to get around.
Yeah.
You know
That's
what I
what
mean?
I'm saying,
It would
dude.
be a nightmare.
Dude, I remember this is before, like, okay, let's see. So internet had a kind of a couple different phases. It had its birth where nobody really knew what it was. And then it had, obviously it grew, its reach grew, in regards to what it could provide. But then it also started reaching more a different technology like our phones and stuff, where it wasn't the idea of having the internet on your phone. That wasn't right away. It was only computers, right? So I remember a long time ago, I was like, probably I was either in high school or just out of high school. I really don't know, dude, but I didn't have a phone that had internet on it. You know what I mean? Like I didn't even have it then.
I feel like the first wouldn't it have been just the iPhone that actually like
Well,
did we have phones
A version of so I think
like Blackberries and
Blackberries
stuff.
had like email and stuff like that,
Yeah.
but you weren't going to get any sort of functional thing like maps or anything like or
Yeah.
videos. You're not getting that. And a buddy of ours actually was in a drum performance. And were you in this one? No, I don't think you were in this one, but no, you weren't. And he had this show that he wanted me to go to, and I happened to be working that day. I knew where the show was ish. I didn't know how to get there. Okay. It was at a Coliseum. I knew in the general direction on the planet where the Coliseum was. I didn't know how to get there, dude. And I was just like, and I decided I was going to go. And I popped into my car, and I don't have a paper map. I don't have anything. I'm just going to drive over in the city area and look for the Coliseum and see what I can do here. See, I've seen it from the freeway. You know what I mean? I'm like, and I've been in there before. I know that. So I go driving, and as I'm driving on the freeway, I see the Coliseum in the distance. And I'm like, okay, if I work hard enough, I can get to that. I have no idea how to get there. So I just drove long enough on the freeway until I was like, I don't know, here, I'll get off here. You know what I mean? We'd probably hit some sort of dead end, turn around, go back. And it was just like fail, success, fail, success, fail, success. Hey, I made it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And when I showed up, he was like all happy I was there and everything. To this day, I wouldn't do that. I would not do that. I'd be like, no, give me a map. What street do I get off on? Because I've been spoiled with the internet in regards to it gives me all my answers. I don't have to go like guess at all anymore.
Yeah, dude, when I was like 18, 18 or 19, I moved to Anaheim for drum corps.
Yeah.
For a whole summer. And up until we were actually on tour, I was driving around LA
Yeah.
with no idea where I was going ever. And I'm still here on this planet. Yeah. So I figured it out. Like, and I definitely didn't have any tools to help me get around. I just kind of like signs. You read signs. Like reading was a thing back then.
Yeah.
As well. Like, I don't know, man. Like I looking back, because now it's like if I've got my GPS and I'm supposed to go somewhere and I miss a turn, you know, for some reason, I panic. Like,
even though it auto corrects for you.
You were in the car with me. I almost killed us because I was so determined to get in the lane it told me to be in that I was going to do whatever it took, which was risking our lives to get in that lane, because I felt like if I don't make that turn, there's no coming back from this. You know what I mean? Like, it's gotten to the point to where you rely on it too much as a crutch.
Definitely.
Where I'm just like, no, dude, next time, you know, if you can't get in that exit because it's backed up, just go on to the next one. It's not a big deal.
Well, that's what's crazy.
You know?
The technology itself will recognize that you blew it and be like, that's okay. I got you covered.
Yeah, I know.
Pull up with this next one. Because back when we were younger, if you remember, like, you know, especially when we like first started driving and everything, and you make a new friend and you guys are going to hang out at their house or whatever, whether it could be small scale bicycles, you grow up, it's cars. And they'd be like, okay, so drive down this road, and then you're looking for this name, and they'd be like, and then turn right, and then like three more streets, you're going to turn left. You're writing this down on a piece of paper. 3 more streets, and then left, and then this one doesn't have it. And then what am I looking for? Oh, there's no sign for that. Okay, they're after the big palm tree. Like it was that, like, you're literally writing this down, like direction by direction by direction by direction. And you're driving and looking at this piece of paper and trying to figure out how to get there. And you get there. And I think that once we did that, that was, I'm speculating here, but that exercise was flexing a part of the brain that was like locking in those directions, locking them in. So where you might have to reference it one more time, but then after a while, you're just driving to your friend's house, right? With Google Maps and stuff, me personally, I can't speak for everybody. I'll use, if I'm going somewhere new, I'll use it for that. And I put it up and then it tells me where to turn. It's just right there on the screen. I get there and my brain just whoosh, flushes everything I just saw.
Same. And then I got to use it again and again and again. Yes. Yeah, dude, my wife's the opposite. Like she'll do a drive once and then that's it. She has it memorized and it doesn't matter. Like years could go by.
That's impressive.
And she'll remember it. I'm like, I don't know how you do that because I'm like you. I just completely flush it out. And it's got worse than that for me. Like somebody asked me to get to my house, what's the name of the street they turn on? And I had no clue. I had no clue. I didn't even know the name of the streets to get to my house, dude, because I've never needed to.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You look and it says, okay, go here, turn here. And you don't care about the names.
Yeah.
And so like, I literally couldn't tell them like the name of the street to get into my neighborhood.
Yeah.
You know, and I just felt so bad about it. I'm like, how has it gotten this bad that I'm like that reliant on it? You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
Like back then we used to have like memorize everyone's phone numbers as well.
Yep.
Because we didn't have some big Rolodex in our digital wallet.
I did. Here's what I had. You ready for this, dude? I had a little thing. So yes.
You kept in your pocket?
Yes.
Like a little phone book?
Yeah, but that was because that was a
little black book, guys. Skizzleman.
No. And I had a thing. It was basically two magnets that stuck together. And when you pull, they were like floppy magnets. And when you pulled them apart, they're about the size of a business card.
Okay.
And when you pulled them apart, it was this accordion piece of paper that you could just have numbers on. And that's where I just wrote everybody's number in case I needed to reference it. But like you're saying, most of them, well, not maybe the top 5 or 10, I had all those phone numbers completely memorized. And that was because memorizing phone numbers was a thing.
Yeah.
Could you recite my phone number right now? My cell number?
I don't even think I could say the first number of your number. Like, I have no clue.
See,
maybe I could get the area code.
See,
maybe
there is an episode of The Office where Michael Scott ends up lost in the city. Like it's just a long story, but Jim has an emergency, has to leave real quick, leaves Michael behind. All of Michael's stuff is in his wallet, his phone, everything. And Michael goes to like a nearby place and asks to use their phone. And they finally let him, you can use my phone. And he pulls out their phone and he's all, you don't have any of my numbers on here. Like, it's like, I don't even know who you are. But he was the way it worked is that he had I've thought about that all the time too. If all of a sudden my phone was like, you know what? I wiped out all your contacts. I know my wife's phone number because it's one digit off of mine. Mm-hmm. And I got to be honest, I don't even know my kids' phone numbers because it actually is different enough to where when I call them, I just hit their name and it goes to them. My wife's phone number is one number off of mine. And that's the only reason I have it memorized.
It's barely have it memorized.
Yeah. But it's taking away, I don't want to say that word. It's almost like it's robbing us of our ability to kind of use that part of our brain, which is why since information these days is instantaneous when it comes to the internet, as is misinformation, which is another topic entirely. But I have gotten to a point to where, and you've seen me do this, and you have like seemingly endless patience with me. When I'm with somebody and they're like, what was that actor? And they'll name a movie. Who played that? And I'm like, oh, and I'll think. And then they go and they pull out their phone. I'm like, wait. Just hold on. Let's see if we can remember. You know what I mean? Like I want to see, it's like the craziest thing in the world. I'm like, you don't have to just salute the rectangle instantly. Just hold on a second. And I will think and I will think and I will think. And then sometimes I get it. And sometimes times enough, I'll forget. Yeah. But when I'm on my own, 9 times out of 10, if I'm just sort of just thinking, I'm like, oh, who was that person? Or what was the name of that movie or whatever? If I'm on my own, I have gone as long as like 2-3 days to where I'm just like, no, I refuse. I'm not looking this up. I want to see if I can remember what this is. You know what I mean? And I don't know why that is.
Because you don't want to, you need to flex those muscles, you know, the synapses, you know, you need
show that you can still do it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But it has become like a crutch to us. You know what I mean? Like having information at any time we need it, we want it, you know, we can just look it up and it's just there, has made it so too easy almost.
Yeah.
Like we're not using our brain power
Yeah.
anymore. I totally get that. Let's go back in time. Because I feel like most of people, maybe not most, but a lot of people listening, watching, they maybe didn't have that experience of life before computers.
Yes.
So let's talk about what it was like to come into this new realm of the internet. Like what were the first things you found yourself doing? You said you were looking up the video. Did you do any of the like group chat stuff? I remember chat rooms were like a really big deal on the internet.
Question.
I was a teenager, young boy, I believe I ended up talking to some girl in Kentucky or something that may not have been a girl and may not have been young at all. You know what I mean?
I don't think catfishing existed yet.
I don't know.
Maybe it did.
I don't know. I mean, people have always been people, and
That's a good point.
The internet was a new wild, wild west. There was like nobody knew what it was capable of, and people are finding ways to abuse things the second they can. So who knows? Who knows? I do remember this though. I definitely struck up a conversation with somebody who did not live in my state, which was something very new, other than when my third grade teacher found me a pen pal in another country, and then we actually had like the snail mail. That was the way before to like meet people that didn't live in your vicinity.
That was the original chat room.
Pen pals. Yeah. Right. They called them. Which was a good exercise as a kid, I suppose. But here I was as a 13, 14-year-old on the internet just talking to somebody random. And I remember feeling like, oh my gosh, this is crazy. I've met somebody that lives in a different state and we're getting along, Yeah. Next thing you know, we did actually send each other pictures of ourselves because they didn't have like I didn't have a digital camera or anything. So like I remember sending a snail mail with my actual picture and like a written letter to this person. Like,
did you?
Yeah. And I'm 13, I'm young. I got a lot to learn in life. And, my parents, they also were new to the internet. They had no idea I was probably even doing this, and no idea of what dangers could possibly exist on the internet. Also, there's no reason for them to stand over my shoulder watching everything I'm doing because we didn't know what we didn't know. It turns out everything was okay. This wasn't, as far as I know, a catfish. They might have borrowed a picture from a relative or something. I don't know. But
they may have been assuming you did.
Right. Exactly. And that didn't go anywhere, but it was, I do remember like at the time, like, wow, this is a big deal. Like I'm making a friend that I would not have made otherwise in a different part of the country, which was, it was cool. I thought it was really cool and interesting, but also very, very scary now looking back.
It is because no matter how you slice it, when it came to the introduction of the internet, because it came on so strong and so fast, it was the blind leading the blind. The generation before us had no experience with it, and we were experiencing it for the first time. So there was, I don't know. I do wonder these days if what percentage of people were able to recognize the potential dangers that existed because of the ambiguity and the anonymity of what the internet is. I think that people started to kind of get a vibe for, should we be talking about this? And to the point to where, and this is going to be kind of a heavy proclamation, but I think if it's not already, I believe internet safety should be ingrained in the scholastic curriculum at a very young age. I think it should. That's just me, and I could be, maybe it's over the top, but I think that young kids, if they're not already, and maybe I'm wrong, maybe it is part of the curriculum. If they're not, they should be getting taught what the impact of the internet is, and that even though it feels like you're separated on a very real level, you're not. You know what I mean? These are real people. And you and I started to get introduced to what computer muscle is. And it cracks me up. Like it's how brazen people can be when they feel safe. And they also, it's tipping the cards of many people in regards to.
That almost brings out the worst.
It does. It can bring out the worst in some people. And this is not, and I don't think it's, I genuinely still believe most people are good. I do. But I think that the ability for people's sort of inner demons or inner hostilities or whatever you want to call it, its need to come out in some form or fashion existed far before the internet. right? And think of old bathroom stalls, right? If you go into a public bathroom stall, and there's just a bunch of nasty crap written up, that's a form of people being vile while being behind a veil of anonymity, that nobody knows I'm doing this, and I can call so-and-so a bad name or whatever, because they're doing it all hidden now, right? But then as we evolve now, they can do it in spades, because they're actually in their own home behind their own computer, and they feel safe that way. And I think that is sort of the one of the dangers that I think needs to be explained, is that when somebody comes at you on the internet in a negative fashion, I think it'd be nice for kids to learn, like, find the skill set to make sure it's not affecting them, because sometimes monkeys just got to fling poo and they don't even know who they're going to hit. You know what I mean? And it's just kind of nastiness out there. But that's another whole dynamic of the internet that's kind of was brought to us maybe quicker than we're able to adapt to. I just feel like the internet evolved at a rate that was, and maybe it's technology in general, but the internet evolved at a cadence that is quicker than our ability to understand it. And it feels like it happened overnight. I mean, we're old, but we're not crazy old.
We're old.
But it wasn't that long ago we didn't have the internet.
Yeah. It's really been a blip in human existence, obviously, but like even in our lives, like it's been a majority of our lives at this point that we've had the internet.
Yep.
And so like thinking about back before the internet, how was things different without the GPS, without, having to memorize phone numbers and all that kind of stuff? It's almost like already at this point, easy to forget, like what the internet has changed in our lives. So to sit down and kind of like really dig deep in that vault and be like, okay, what were some things that we had to do like completely differently? We already talked about some of them, but like the information thing, I want to go back to that, because like information is like
this.
Yeah, it's crazy. Before, what was that actress's name? And then how would we get there?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? If our brains couldn't get there, how did we get there? Did we just forget it? Did we actually go to the library? Did we just hope something would make us remember 2 months later? Like I don't even know how we settled.
You just dealt with it. Here's what you did. You would, neither one of you would be able to remember, and then you would just stew on it. And then later you go get lunch with a third friend. You'd be like, hey, do you know who that? And you would just ask. They were asking around for that information. Here's a great example. My daughter and I went and saw a movie recently. Cute movie. We went and saw Sheep Detectives. I don't know if you've seen that's the Hugh Jackman. Yeah. You've seen the trailer for this? No, it's a cute little movie. It's a fun, cute little movie. Anyways, there's a couple characters in it, and I'm not going to give anything away, obviously, in case you want to watch it. But one of the characters is the town police officer. That's it. There's one, because that's how small this place is. And then another person is a reporter who is visiting. And we watch, and you can tell like the police officer is like noticeably, taller than the reporter. But it really looks to me like the reporter is kind of on the shorter side. Well, movie's over. My daughter and I leave, and she's like, Dad, did you know that the guy who plays the reporter is the same dude who is in the new He-Man movie as He-Man? And I'm all, no way. And she's like, it is. I'm all, there's no way. I'm like, that guy was way too small to be He-Man. Like I was serious, like he's way too small to be He-Man. She's like, no, he's He-Man. And so I'm like, and she's all, I don't think he's short, Dad. I just think the police officer was that tall. And so I'm like, oh, I'm curious. Right to the rectangle, look it up. Turns out the police officer was like 6'7" or 6'9" or something. Like, don't do the 6'7" thing. Another bad thing about the internet. Another bad thing about the internet.
You can't even say the number.
And the guy who was like He-Man dude was like tall enough. He's like 6'1" or something. Like he's plenty tall to play He-Man. And I'm just like, what? Okay, that was fun. That was a fun little exercise. Let's rewind the clock. What do we do now?
I don't think you would find out.
Yeah, there we go. See, now you're getting there.
How this actor, like you don't even remember their name, and for you that's odd.
You're right. Well, I honestly still don't really. I don't remember their name. I feel like I should. I feel like they were in something else that was kind of a big deal, and I think they were. And I'm just
so they're not like A-list.
I don't think so.
Right?
I could be out of touch.
So the height of a not A-list actor is not something that's going to be super easily available to you without internet.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like, what do you even, I don't even know what you do. Like you're not going to the Dewey Decimal System for this.
Let's just say it was like, okay, I say, Impulse, we just watched this movie together. I will give you $500 if you can tell me the height of that, before the internet, $500 if you can tell me the height of that internet, or the height of that internet, height of that actor. And then you, what do? You're like, okay, you go to the credits, like watch the movie, like fast forward if you can, or go buy another ticket. Let's start over, dude. You go buy another ticket. You sit through the whole thing. You sit through the movie, and then the credits roll.
Pen and paper ready.
Yes, dude. And then the actor. Then you run to the library. Mm-hmm. What do you do now? What do you do? The Dewey Decimal System.
They had that thing where like you can they scan in newspapers from different places.
The microfiche, but those things don't. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah.
You can't do. They're not searchable. It's not like they had text recognition.
I mean, $500, I have some time before it makes it not worth it.
What do you, well, I mean, for real.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, you're not finding it.
I think that's what I'm saying. I think you were right with your first thing. You're like, you're not going to figure it out.
Yeah.
The best thing you could do is try to find like an autobiography of this guy somewhere now what's crazy is my brain is like failing right now because I'm starting to misremember how the Dewey Decimal System worked. Did you have to know the name of the book for it to work? Because the Dewey Decimal System was literally a card catalog.
I thought it was by author. Wasn't it by author?
Maybe it is by author. So
and then title.
Yeah.
Something. Anyway.
So what do you do? Like this is amazing. But instead I pulled up my rectangle, had it like this.
Yeah.
And on top of that, every other movie that he's ever been in and perspective movies.
It's great.
It's insane.
It's great.
Is it? Because it's almost like information overload at this point.
I mean, there's so many times when if I didn't know the answer, it would just drive me absolutely nuts. So to get the answer and then like let it go is nice. I find. You know
what you did is you just agreed to disagree. That's all it was. Well, I think he's taller. Well, I think he's shorter, and then you just moved on with life. And then until you came across somebody else who was like, no. And then you always had that one person's like, no, that person's, they're like only 5'5". It's like, how do you know that? Well, I saw a thing. Did you? Like, you know what I mean? So now
you couldn't fact check anybody.
You couldn't fact check anybody.
Because it's too hard.
It's like impossible.
So wait a minute. Does that mean there's actually just as much misinformation back then because people were just straight up lying because they knew they couldn't get fact checked as there is now?
I would suggest rather that there was less because today's misinformation, it spreads like wildfire.
It spreads faster than truth, it feels like.
Yeah. So it spreads a lot faster. And that is unfortunately one of the biggest black eyes of the internet is that not only is information instantaneous, so is misinformation.
Yeah.
And so now I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't know what to believe anymore.
Yeah. Right. You get to a point to where, there's so much you don't know whether it's true or not that you're just like, I can't believe any of it. So you get a little jaded at the whole thing. And you're just like, I just refuse to buy into anything anymore. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah,
that
that
makes
part.
Me sad.
That part does make me sad. I hope that gets somehow figured out. I don't even know if you were hired tomorrow to be the internet safety guy of the whole planet, I guess, because it would have to be. It'd have to be at that level, right?
Because the internet is exactly global.
Yeah, you can't have a local government do something because it affects the whole world, right? We're connected now.
But there are several governments worldwide that there certain websites or whatever aren't allowed in.
Yeah, they've kind of siloed in their countries or whatever. But like if you were to actually solve the problem, right, you'd have to be at the world level, I think. Let's say you were put in charge. You're the new safety internet guy for the world.
Yeah.
How do you solve that?
I don't know, dude.
How do you solve the spread of misinformation?
I don't know. That's a great question because if you remember when people started to get wise to the fact that misinformation was a bit rampant on the internet, that's when places like Snopes was born, right? So Snopes was that website where you could go and kind of, you heard something and you go and you type it into Snopes and then they give you a rundown of they were literally rated on its level of accuracy, right? Like this news story or this proclamation is like 87% true based on these findings. And it looked like it was pretty well put together. But then the next thing you know, you got a lot of people going after Snopes because they themselves were influence and bias, and I'm like, okay, so is that not? I can't rely on them anymore.
Yeah, I never heard of that.
So I don't know. You never heard of Snopes?
No.
Oh, interesting. I'll be honest with you. I don't even know if it's a thing anymore. I haven't like checked in 15 years. I have no idea. I have no idea, but I don't know. I mean, maybe.
I mean, now I've seen like, on Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it these days, people will be like, Grok is the like AI thing on X. Like they'll see somebody say something, and then the next like comment is, Grok, is this true? And then you trust AI to go do the research to tell you whether or not they think it's true based on what else they found with their crawls, I guess.
Exactly.
So like even that, like I would see an answer from Grok and be like, I still don't know.
It's still just using a bunch of sources out there that I don't know how reliable those sources are. I have to entertain that Grok knows better than me, but I don't know. It's just a bunch of, I saw a clip out there of somebody who, it was like a confession. It was like I don't even know how to put it. It was like an odd confessions thing or something. And this, this person was confessing that they just decided one day that they were going to start their own blog or website or something. I don't know what platform it was or what medium it was, but about insects. And they were just going to spit some serious, really kind of interesting facts about certain types of insects.
Okay.
Problem is, it was 100% made up, and they were just having fun. Okay. But they just started like a parody
account type
kind
of thing.
Yeah. And they were just and when you read the things that they were saying, it was very, very articulate and very, it was very believable, for lack of a better. I mean, insects are in their own right very fascinating, but they were just making up a bunch of stuff. The problem is they got a massive, massive following, and since they got this massive following, what that meant was all the crap that they were just making up just weaved its way into the ether, and it's probably being referenced by like AI and stuff, because it's like, well, this has a following. See what I'm saying? So they basically made up a bunch of crap that probably went out there and it just like it set its own feet in the soil, as in this is the new reality. Meanwhile, people who like dedicated their lives to studying insects and stuff are like, what is going on here? You know what I mean? What is this crap? And so it kind of got out of control. So I think I think if you wanted to have some sort of body that was in charge of making sure that the internet is, first of all, you have to define what safe is, right? And so let's just go with accurate, not.
Yeah, I said safe. I meant in this instance, let's just talk about
right.
You're okay. Safety is your overall title. You'll get there. Job number one, let's get misinformation eliminated.
Right. And I think what has to happen is it's a body of people that for some way, somehow, you're able to remove bias from the equation. There needs to be zero bias. There needs to be, they almost need to embrace being slow, right? I think a lot of misinformation finds its way out because speed is everything. And this is a pre-internet thing, right? This is all the competing news.
Early journalism was always
it's all about speed.
Scanning radio, police scanners and being the first one on scene.
Yeah, they never, being right had almost no currency at all. It was being first. That's what the news, that's what, I mean, in their defense, that's just what was their bread and butter, was being first. And if you want to be successful, you got to be fast. Well, fast means you got to sacrifice accuracy, right? And then they just seemingly embraced it. And they all just sort of created this culture of journalism of it's okay to be wrong because we're all in agreement. We're just trying to be fast, right? And we'll apologize later if we need to. But that ended up, spinning people off in tangents and stuff because they were given a false information. So pretend a body of people, bias has been removed. A slow pace has been embraced. Speed means nothing. Their entire existence is about accuracy. That is what you are here to do. You know what I mean? And so and you can't expect the whole internet to filter through them, but it's almost like imagine a proper Snopes, a proper site that, and maybe it exists and I don't even know, but imagine Impulse. You hear a rumor, you hear something, you just don't know how true is this because I see things I don't know what to believe anymore. And you type it into here and you have unbelievable confidence that what it returns was from a human, you know what I mean? Like what it ends up like, you know, whatever it is from a human, and it is a body of people that regulate this, and their entire existence is about being accurate, not being fast, not being biased, not trying to peddle a narrative, just about being accurate and ones and zeros only. And at that point, I think that it would become a big enough body to where if it had, it's almost like the Better Business Bureau.
Yeah,
that
exactly.
if your website has this stamp of this, then you know it's been, oh, this is okay. I can believe this now. Now people don't need to go check that if they've got this stamp from this website.
Yeah.
Is it a real stamp? You know what I mean?
Okay.
See, I'm already.
That might work. My concern with that is because they took their time to make sure they were accurate. How bad did the fire spread that maybe it's too big to even put out?
See, beautiful,
right?
beautiful. I love what you just said. And the premise being that if a body of, like I'm suggesting here, got enough gravity and enough traction, the fire's not going to spread because the stamp wasn't there. Now, if it doesn't have the stamp, people are just already, their instinct is probably going to be like, I'm not even sure I believe
I'm going to
this.
hold off on judgment or passing this.
Yeah.
What if there was some sort of punishment for spreading misinformation?
Boy, oh boy, you're opening up a can of worms.
I am. Like we were going directions I didn't plan on going in this podcast.
Fun. This is fun.
But like, okay. And I'm not thinking like, okay, somebody passed along a rumor that, you know, so-and-so is a bad person when they're really not. And so now they need to be put in jail. I'm not like going that far or anything like that. I'm saying like, what if it was as simple as Better Business Bureau, a rating?
Yeah.
Your social identity, your online social media identity has a rating that maybe umbrellas all social media sites, right?
Yeah.
So your one profile, you know, and maybe you can't be super anonymous, you know, I don't know. So you can't just like pop up a whole bunch of them, right? Yeah. That has some sort of rating, and it tracks how many times have you got dinged because you retweeted something that was wrong. And it brings down.
Oh, dude,
this is like Black Mirror stuff.
I was just gonna say you're going Black Mirror right
this
now,
is very
dude.
Black Mirror-ish, but like, would that change behavior? Being like, I don't think I want to just jump on this train that I'm not 100% sure is accurate, because if I'm wrong, my rating's going to go down, and now everything I say across all my other social medias are going to get looked at through a different lens
lose
now,
credibility
because I lost credibility in myself, my online identity.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Maybe there's something there.
There might be.
I don't know.
That's so scary, dude. That's such a scary notion right there. But it would be foolish to not entertain that there is something real there.
Yeah,
but
because I think what you said was the anonymity of being on the internet.
And there's no accountability.
Right? There's no accountability.
Yeah.
And so if there's somehow that we can enforce accountability for your actions on the internet, people will start acting like humans again.
See, and
you know what I mean?
And if you retweet something that is unsubstantiated, and maybe I can only get into the realm of maybe there's a ding if you end up retweeting it. However, if you're the one who starts it, that's where it needs to be
corporal
a big
punishment. No, I'm just kidding.
no. But that's why I think that's why, like, the fight against drugs, right? They're never really going after the drug users. They're going after the drug lords. They're going after those who are bringing them in. Like it's kind of similar, right? I gotta be honest with you. I'm not entirely sure how I feel about your suggestion here, because it feels dark, right? It feels dark because I just don't like assigning numbers to people.
Sure.
But at the same time, it's hard to argue with the fact that there's zero accountability, and something needs to be done about that. But I think that what needs to be done personally is we can try to put all the regulations in place that we want to. Right. And all the different red tape and approvals and this and that, we can put them all in. That's only going to, it might help a little bit, but it's also just going to set up another platform for people to navigate around if they need to. I think what we need to be doing is stop telling people what to think and teaching people how to think. And I think that if we get more people at a young age who are learning critical thinking skills and how to properly identify actual fallacies and see the weaknesses in arguments and stuff like that, and actually be able to quantify words in arguments into numbers so that they can really articulate, they can see something for what it is. They don't need a website. They don't need regulations. They don't need a further accountability. They can hear something and instantly be like, okay, well, this is, my brain is already telling me, let's pump the brakes for a second.
Yeah.
And there's much more to figure out here before taking something at face value. And I think, unfortunately, since the internet came on so fast and the information comes in these giant waves and just constant waves, I feel like critical thinking is on the decline. And I think that people are just consuming and just, when they hear something, I think a lot of people are doing this. They hear something and it just becomes fact. It becomes gospel. They didn't ask what exactly what was said. Sometimes they don't even hear it. They hear it through somebody.
Right. And they don't question.
They don't question.
Like,
it.
what's your source? Where is this coming from?
Yeah.
And by then it's telephone.
I've been that person.
It's telephone gamed. Telephone game.
Yeah.
Right. On the internet, the telephone game is strong. Right. Like by the fourth retweet or whatever, like it's been changed into something completely different anyway. Like you get that. So I think the way I see it is the people that they see something and they accept it immediately. It's because it's already somewhere they're at in their mind, right? Like they're in their I call them echo chambers, right? You've heard this term before.
Yeah.
So we're very tribal, right? Humans are very tribal people. Like we want to be with like-minded people and stuff like that. It's just kind of the way humankind is, right? And I think the internet has magnified that. You know what I mean? Because people are able to find like-minded people much quicker. And they get in their echo chambers and then they only accept what their echo chamber accepts, what their tribe accepts. You know what I mean? So they stop that critical thinking that you're talking about if it doesn't agree with the beliefs of their echo chamber. Right. And so to me, that's a very scary thing because growing up, I was always taught to be accepting of differences. Right. And it almost being a good thing. Like we worked in a place that wanted multiculture.
I was just going to go into that.
They pushed for like, hey, let's bring a whole bunch of people together from all over the planet, from different walks of life, different cultures, different beliefs, all that kind of stuff. Bring them together so that when they work together, they have all these different ideas. Right. And which is a good thing because that's what's going to spawn greatness. Right. Whereas if you're in a room and then you're in your echo chamber and it's only you're basically a single cell organism. You're one mind, even though it's multiple people. You're not going to have as many good ideas, right? It's just it's kind of what leads to, and we're seeing it. And I'm exhausted by the divisiveness and stuff like that that's been happening on this planet. It's one of the reasons for that. But if we want to step back, like the internet is what allowed people to find each other quicker and establish these like tribes, we'll call them, right? These groups and create these echo chambers much quicker than we could do before
the internet.
Because it was all in person, pen pal, like, you know what I mean? Like you didn't have as much access to like-minded people around the world. And now we can make connections like this, but we can also lose connections like this. And so there's no real strong bonds that are being made in these tribes that are being created online. You know what I mean? The second somebody doesn't agree with you anymore, you can just shut them out. You don't have to go through the hard work of like hearing them out and understanding their side and deciding where to meet in the middle or not meet in the middle or agree to disagree. We don't have that anymore. It's just bloop, you're gone.
It's the lowest barrier of exit mankind has ever experienced, right? And you and I don't know if we've ever talked about this in the podcast, but unfortunately, I haven't finished it yet because I've stopped reading for whatever, but you introduced me to the book, The Anxious Generation.
I'm pretty sure that's where I'm pulling a lot of this discussion from. It's a
fascinating thing, but it breaks down exactly what you're talking about, right? In regards to the fact that there's such a low barrier of exit, whereas once upon a time, if you didn't get along with somebody in your neighborhood, well, you better figure it out because that's your neighbor. So
Yeah.
go have it out with them. Go talk it. Figure out why you guys have such a difference. Understand each other. You're forced to understand each other because the barrier of exit is so large because you live right next to each other. So you're either going to come to an agreement or you're going to fight. But either way, you're going to get to the other side of this. You're going to actually properly get to the other side of this. But today, the slightest bit of discomfort, mute. Like people are losing all social skills on what it is to actually deal with another person
with discourse.
Yes. It's starting to get lost. And the internet, I'm just going to say it. This is one of the bleak things that the internet brought.
Yeah.
It brought so many great things, and I'm not an internet hater. I live on the internet. It's my livelihood.
Yeah.
I'm not a hater at all. I think that mankind found ourselves into a space to where it just evolved so quickly that we just weren't quite ready for it. I kind of feel the same thing with like weaponry. You know what I mean? It's like like as soon as weapons introduce themselves long before explosiveness, but it got to a point where the arms race just got out of control. And it's like, what are we doing? What, can we pump the brakes for a second? And I think the internet kind of did the same thing.
Yeah.
Technology kind of did the same thing. And we're always trying to catch up. And I think that as a species, if we are able to acknowledge the fact that we're always trying to catch up, then maybe we will be able to acknowledge the fact that maybe we don't know everything. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And that's the problem, is that so many people they know everything because the rectangle told them so. And it's like, let's take that out of your pocket, throw it away. What do you think?
Yeah, back up.
You know what I mean?
Like,
let's talk a little bit about it.
Yeah.
What do you think about this? What are your thoughts about this? Stop echoing and just regurgitating what your rectangle told you. What does your heart say about this? You know, and really start to learn who people, because I think what's going to end up happening is, let's go back to the example of you have a beef with somebody in your neighborhood and you go and you actually talk with them about it. There's a very good chance you're going to come out the other side really close friends.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a
good chance most of the time disagreements happen because just of simple misunderstandings.
Just a misunderstanding.
And all it takes is to sit down with a cool head, no emotions, and just spit the facts.
Yeah.
Here's the reason I'm feeling this way, because this is the way I saw it. And then the other person says it, and then you find out, oh, we just got our wires crossed. Yeah. And it was no big deal. But on the internet, that no big deal can go into a wildfire, and people go absolutely crazy attacking each other.
Yeah.
And it's just like and it's anonymous, and it can go, and some people are just rage baiting because they want to see the world burn. You know what I mean? They're literally just like, ooh, drama, let's spit on that fire, or let's pour gas on that fire. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That's another whole thing.
That's a whole nother thing too. Let's do this, because we went down a bit of a dark rabbit hole that honestly we didn't even plan on going down, but let's try to spin some positive. Let's talk about how the internet has changed entertainment.
Ooh, because I like this.
Obviously, we live on YouTube, and I don't know about you, but I don't have cable TV anymore. I've cut the cords and everything's streamed. I'm using the internet for all my entertainment.
Me too.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
So let's talk about the early days. Charlie bit my finger. You know what I mean?
Charlie, that hurt.
Like, I have fond memories of the early days of the internet and getting those videos, the cat videos. And I know these still exist, but like early days, like this was like this new form of media for us. The memes were a whole new thing, right? Like we never experienced memes growing up,
or GIFs.
Yeah, and now we have these. We got emojis.
Yeah,
we got all these things. These so there is some like really cool positive stuff, obviously, that's come out of the internet. What's been your favorite part of that? Like.
Okay, I
gaming,
love this question.
There's a lot of things, right?
Gaming, is
being
huge.
able to game together is another form. In the entertainment space,
being
right?
Being able to game together is massive.
Napster, right? How much music have I illegally enjoyed in my life because of Napster?
You went way back.
Yeah. I mean, when I was in college and I got it was probably like a 1 meg download speed on my college campus.
Yeah.
Napster was going fire on my computer, dude.
I know.
I mean, I had every track known to man that I could fit on that little tiny hard drive of mine. That probably didn't last long because it was...
Napster we've talked about this before. That was one of my, like I said, how the internet is going quicker than we can. That's something I am pretty proud of recognizing quite early. is that the first time I was listening to music, I got off of Napster from an album that I didn't own, and being like, whoa, no matter how I am enjoying this music and I have not paid for this music. I remember my brain doing that.
Yeah.
Like to me, we weren't stealing.
No,
at all.
I always told myself, I justified it because I felt that too.
Mm-hmm.
That when I graduated college and I had a decent job, every track I downloaded, I would buy the album to make up for it.
Not a chance you did that.
I do have a lot of albums, but I doubt that I got them all covered.
Yeah.
You know, but I no longer have all those tracks. They're gone. They're long gone. But anyway, I mean, we don't need them anymore. We got Spotify that just has them.
Yeah.
You know,
and we pay Spotify. And that, to me, that's one of the greatest things ever, is that all my entertainment, I pay for services, and I do that. The gaming together is absolutely huge. Like, honestly, dude, like, online gaming with friends, and we're just going to take out all the nastiness. I believe most people are good. And it's going to take a lot to change my mind. I know there's a lot of bad in the world, but I think most people are good. And for that sake, I think that the internet is widely used for good, much more than for bad. So that's the camp I'm in. And when people game together, there's a camaraderie there that cannot be ignored. Mm-hmm. And the fact that, I mean, not to mention, like, you play like a team thing and watching teams who are amazing together. That's a lot of fun to watch, because that's people connecting on a very, very different level.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like it's their thoughts are connecting. Their team is their thoughts. And that's, how do you just ignore that? Like, that is so cool. You and I have always talked about it, what we did in the old Battlefield 2 days, like you as the chopper pilot, me as the chopper gunner. Like, us as a team was so good that when we would join a server, people would go blow up the choppers. You know, and it was funny is it was upsetting me at first. And then all of a sudden I was like, I am honored. Yeah. I am honored that our names are getting people to blow up the choppers. Yeah. Like, it felt so good. And that was you and I gaming together on and we weren't in the same house. You know, you were at your house, I was at my house. Yeah. And it was something that we did. And I think, look at this podcast. You and I have had this overwhelming fear since day one of this podcast of giving advice that's bad. So we always cover our bases by saying we're not the authorities in this. And we always encourage people to enjoy the podcast, but make sure that you are taking it with a grain of salt and you're doing your own research. Because we're not, if we do a podcast on drumming, we're allowed to say that we're the authorities. And I would even argue we're kind of not anymore.
I'm always at the point, like, I wouldn't even say that about Minecraft, and I've been doing it for over a decade. It's my job, like, every day. Like, I feel like I never would get to the point to where I'd be like, I'm the authority on something.
Not the authority, an authority. I would say when it comes to, and not even just drumming in general, marching style snare drumming. You and I are allowed to talk on that too.
We have taught. We have taught.
You did DCI.
Yeah. So that's basically saying I'm an authority. If you're an authority, to step up and teach. Yeah.
Right. You're an authority. However, we're not the authority. I don't know if there's such a thing, but if Tom Float, for example, was still around, when we're in a room together, we are no longer, we're not even an authority.
I think that's why I always imagine myself in a room with somebody who knows more than me.
And there always is that person.
I don't know anything.
But see, here's how I do it, right? This is how I do it. 100 people, a room, and 100 random people were chosen and put into that room. From all over the world. Where do you stand? Right? And whatever the X is. Let's take snare drumming.
Okay.
Chances are you take 100 random people from the room, put them in the room, throw me into that room. Chances are I'm the best snare drummer there. Okay. That's 100 random people. There's chances are of all of them, maybe 5 of them even know how to hold the sticks proper, and I'm probably crushing them. You know what I mean? Because I have an extensive background. You have an extensive background. Now, put me in a room with 100 snare drummers, it's a very different story, right? So that's the way I do it in regards to, am I kind of an authority on something, right? 100 people, go up to 1,000 people if you want, right? Now, put me in there and say, take 100 people and put me in that room, and it's all, the topic, the X now is not drumming. It is the Revolutionary War, which I would.
Yeah, no, you like history. You got huge into it for a while.
I would never consider myself an authority. Never. Yeah. Okay. Do I think I'm going to know more about the Revolutionary War than some of the 100? I do. my confidence that there's going to be maybe 30 to 40 people there who would crush me in a trivia about the Revolutionary War, I'm going to get destroyed. You know what I mean? Like, so the answer is no. So like, that's what my brain does in regards to whether or not,
okay,
you know,
that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I always think of an authority as like almost the authority, like one of the top in the world kind of thing.
Like the authority, you're going top. Okay. Yeah. I'm just saying, are you somebody
because I always feel like I'm going to say something and that person's going to hear me and be like, you're an idiot. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna be like, yeah, I don't know everything, you know.
But the thing is, if you are an authority, then I imagine the authority would never look at you like you're an idiot. They'd be like, you know what I mean? Yeah. And then they would have to be able to maybe provide a little bit more.
It's a confidence thing for sure. Because I'm like, when it comes to like streaming tech gear, you know, I'd be like, yeah, no, I can talk on that.
See,
you know what I mean? I'd be perfectly fine. And if I'm wrong, I'm wrong, people. And I don't care.
Right.
You know what I
mean?
So
you and I started this podcast. And almost every topic I've not felt like an authority on. Mm-hmm. I think maybe every topic, because we haven't done a podcast on snare drumming. So, but we give our thoughts, and we've been petrified from day one that we're going to dish out very bad advice, and we give our thoughts on it. But in doing so, we've had very positive messages. The jury's out. People have come back with amazing results based on what they're saying or some of the podcasts that we've had that's turned their lives around. I still stand by it. I know you stand by it. We didn't do anything. We sat in front of mics and we just went, blah, we think this, we think that. And then they did all the
somehow the podcasts that they listened to flipped whatever switch it needed to flip in their brain, and they went and did something because of it that was positive outcome for them. Yeah. Now we haven't heard a lot of the negative stories, and maybe I'm sure they're out there, but we've heard way more positive than negative, and that's felt good. Even though we were like, we're not sure. Yeah. If this is gonna reach people the way we hope it will. Nice. You know,
and that's been nice. That's a good thing of the internet. That's one of my favorites. You know what I mean? Do you have a favorite positive thing that the internet has brought mankind?
I like that it's my job now to be on the internet, and I get to work from home, and I get to make entertaining videos that seem to make people happy. Yeah. Like that's it. Without the internet, we don't have this. We don't have this podcast. We don't have our Hermitcraft videos or any videos. We don't have our streaming stuff. You and I played an amazing game yesterday together where
Subnautica.
We got to go scuba diving together virtually. You know what I mean? And it was a fantasy world, but still, like those experiences didn't exist before I was 13, and never would have thought that was going to be something that could have existed. So, it has definitely like opened many doors for an entertainment realm, not only for me to make a living, for us to get these messages out that seem to be helping people, but also to provide entertainment. Like I've felt, and I've talked about this before, like what happened during the pandemic was awful. Like people, not being able to go out and be with a lot of people in person and all that. And so they're looking for entertainment. To be able to step into a role where I could create something that gave people a little bit of a peace, a little bit of light in a dark time. Whether, it was just because I made a Hermitcraft video that distracted them from the world, or maybe I said something funny that made them laugh and lighten their mood for the day, to be able to be put in a position to where I could do that, meant a lot to me. Yeah. It meant a lot. And I have said this before, I felt a little bit of guilt because it's like, that was good for me to be able to be in a role like that at the time. Like obviously I wouldn't have been able to go full time and stuff if people didn't find my videos during that time. But at the same time, it's like, okay, so I feel like a little bit of guilt that good things are coming my way in a bad time. But at the same time, like we were doing something, Hermitcraft and anybody creating entertainment to distract people from the awfulness. We were doing things that helped people, and like to know that I've done something in my life that helped others that's it. Like that's the dream. Like that's how I feel. Yeah. And the internet allowed that. They gave us this medium to do that, to help others.
True.
Even if sometimes we're wrong.
I know.
I'm sure we have been from time to time. We could have been wrong this whole episode. I don't know.
It's an entirely foolish notion to entertain that we haven't been wrong several times, right? We're not perfect. We're the furthest thing from it. And we just, we've never really spoken like it's gospel here. I have my own convictions on certain things. You have your own convictions, and we're allowed to have those. But we have never been like, this is the answer. This is what it is. This is what you do. I digress. I have been pretty solid on my stance when it comes to your kids and they want to make a memory with you. The answer is always yes. That is something I have very much stood firm on. I hold that. But that's the real one.
What's been nice is the internet has opened, this communication, right? Like we're able to communicate with people all over the world from all walks of life, and we can all share our values that way. And I feel like I've done a pretty good job of avoiding echo chambers. Like that's my goal on the internet, is to not get sucked into an echo chamber and stop listening and interpreting what other people say because I don't like it. You know what I mean? Where because of that, now I love going to the comments, and when we have these conversations, people putting in their 2 cents, and I really read, especially when they don't just agree. You know what I mean? If somebody's like, I understand what you're saying, but I usually dive in even further because I'm like very curious as a human being. Like I'm constantly wanting to improve and understand people and give people the benefit of the doubt and all that kind of. And our comment section is a good place to do that, I find, because we'll get that. We'll get a lot of people that are like, here's my take on what you said, and I've lived a different life than you.
Yes.
And now I can learn.
Yeah.
And so learning, has been huge. Like the internet has allowed me to learn. But I think me in particular, because I've kept my mind open, I've allowed that. I've allowed myself to be uncomfortable with opposing opinions and things like that. And I think that's something you talk about, like, teaching kids in school how to be on the internet and be safe and all that. I think that's the thing that we need to teach the most is how do we get back to the type of humans that would sit down with somebody that they had a disagreement with and talk it through and get to understand the point of the other person. Yeah. And I think even if you end up disagreeing, which is fine, they don't have to be shut out of your life.
That's what I'm saying. Exactly, dude. Disagreeing is not the world's worst thing.
Yeah.
And you're right. I'm kind of like, if I'm scrolling through something that's like a quick feed, something like TikTok or something, and I come across and I can tell in the first 2 seconds that whatever the viewpoint is something that I totally agree with, I scroll instantly because I'm just like, I don't care. Boring. Like I already feel that way. You know what I mean? Boring. And like you, if I come across something that is opposing to something I might believe, as long as it's not being delivered in a purely vile fashion. If it's vile, I'm like, no, thank you. But
there's a line.
Yeah, there's a line because they're not trying to talk or have information. They're just trying to win. They're trying to be vile. And that's go do you. But if it's something that's just simply opposing, that is what locks me in. That's what gets my attention. You know what I mean? Because I'm like you. Curious. And I like that. I've talked about him before. One of my closest friends ever is that we are like, our beliefs politically is different, but I love talking to him. Because he's just, we can talk, you know what I mean? And like I said, and we've talked about it before, is that when he will give his point and I'll be like, I can see exactly why you think that. It makes perfect sense. I don't think it's going to work out that way. I don't think it's going to pan out like that, but I know why you do. You know what I mean? And the next thing you know, if people do this at a younger age and they start to understand what it is to execute discourse, then like you're saying, they're going to get to a point to where they realize that disagreeing is just fine. And just because somebody has a different viewpoint as you doesn't mean that they are to be shut out of your life. And to be honest, I think we should start encouraging echo chamber equals bad. Because as soon as you embrace an echo chamber, you're saying, I'm not willing in my mind expanding its reach. I'm not willing in entertaining other viewpoints. I'd rather stay nice and siloed. I only want to hear people who agree with me. I only want to pound my fist in agreement. That's all I want to do. You know what I mean? And I'm not bashing those people, but I am suggesting that that's not entirely healthy, because what you're doing is you're entertaining that you have all the right answers and there's no such thing as another viewpoint that might make a little bit of sense to you. Yeah. And that is unfortunately one of the things that the internet brought on a quicker level. That this existed before the internet. I think it's just the internet is exacerbated.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, just magnified the whole thing.
Made it quicker. It made the reach. It made the reach bigger, and it made the connections faster. And it also made the integrity of the connections less because people are not even like, there's no research being done, right?
So let's do this. Let's go on a hypothetical journey. What would happen right now if what is it? EMP, electromagnetic pulse.
Boom!
Worldwide electromagnetic pulse went off, and we lost the internet, and like it's not coming back. Right? It's gone.
Okay.
Right? And we're not like, oh, we'll have it back up and running by Tuesday.
Are computers broken?
EMP, all electronics.
All electronics.
Yeah.
So basically we've been thrust into the dark ages.
Yeah. Thrust into the dark ages, right? Like gone overnight. Everything we've come to know, like, and this is actually, you know, we've had TVs and stuff like I'm even saying those. We're going back that much.
Wow.
What happens, first of all? Do you think the world survives?
Yes.
You think humankind
absolutely
figures it out with
it's
no electronics?
It's going to be let me okay, this is a good hypothetical. So let's have some fun here. No electronics, meaning refrigeration is a thing of the past, right? Okay, so we are literally going back to camping at this point. Yep. You can't even make ice unless you live in a climate that makes ice itself, right? Okay. Can we, this is for real. Can we get it back? Can we get it back?
Nope.
Can we reinvent it?
No.
Like, okay, you're never going to have it.
It's never going to have like any internet, electronics, nothing.
Then what's going to happen, what I think is going to happen, to say anarchy is an absolute understatement, right? All officiating bodies would be.
Yeah, dude, you're talking banks?
Everything.
Like
money's gone.
Money
means nothing.
Because we've pretty much converted to all digital currency. Like how many people actually, I don't have all my money in cash under my mattress.
Wouldn't matter anyway. It's like the cash wouldn't even. Cash might carry some value for a little bit until people started to realize this is just paper.
Yeah.
It's just paper. So next thing you know, you'd actually have to get something that's actually rare, right? It's like we're going back to gold. And now there's a few people listening who are like, that's why I hold on to gold. And so maybe that's but I believe civilization would find itself again on some level. And it would be medieval again. It really would. I don't know what would happen to the infrastructures, but things like banks and stuff would be turned into domiciles. Things that like all the infrastructure that exists today would be repurposed and stuff like that. Cause like something like, your house would work, but the bottom line is it's not safe.
We wouldn't have air conditioner.
Well, you're right. We couldn't even live in Arizona. You're right. We'd have to
move straight away.
We'd have to move or find a way to adapt to the environment. You're right. So I didn't even think about that.
Yeah. We'd have went a little too deep with this cut.
Well, that's what I'm saying. Like, so it's almost that's a different art. That almost is its own podcast. Yeah. But let's just take away the internet.
Okay, let's do that. We'll back it up a little bit.
Back it up, just the internet.
Because that got a little wild. But it would be interesting to see how people cope.
Yeah.
When their whole life they had this stuff, refrigeration, and
that's another podcast, dude. Yeah.
But let's go because we started with when we were little. Before teenage years, we had no internet.
Yeah.
Now we have internet.
Yep.
Let's go back to 10-year-old selves when there was no internet. But now, now we've experienced what could be, what was, and it's taken away.
It's taken away. And that's the key right there. It's not that it doesn't exist. It's that it's been taken away. And because since it was birthed, it moved mankind in a direction that would be very hard to undo right now.
Yeah.
If it just was done. First of all, our jobs gone. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We have no jobs without the internet. Huge companies out there like Fortune 500, like chip manufacturing companies, they still have some wiggle room to have some life because computers are a thing.
Before the internet.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
They still exist, but
remote jobs gone.
But the necessity for what they were offering is
dropped.
I'm just going to say it's very different. It's very different. Data centers are not going to be, there'll be no data centers anymore. There's no point. You know what I mean? They'll just be home computers. You know what I mean? It's just home. You can't connect to a data center because there's no internet. There's nothing there. Entertainment would be non-existent for a while and people just have to be at peace with that. You know what? If you can still buy stock somehow, which I still to this day do not understand.
How did you buy stock before the internet?
They got the stock.
Oh yeah, you had to call somebody.
You call, and then they're on the floor going like doing this. I don't understand it. But what I'm doing is I'm taking whatever currency is still has value, and I'm investing in maps, because paper maps are gonna they're gonna fly off.
I don't know, dude. I'm going toilet paper, because every time something goes wrong on this planet, toilet paper becomes a hot commodity, and I don't understand why. But I'm going toilet paper.
The second you know what it is that it's like a wild animal that is at its end and it poops right before, like this, the mankind when the planet goes crazy, everybody poops, and the toilet paper flies off the shelf.
What would you miss the most, personally?
Oh,
internet's
boy.
gone. I mean, I think you said it. Like I love what we do. Like,
yeah.
I love that we get to do this podcast. I love that we get to play video games together. I love that we make videos that entertain
I would
thousands
miss
of people.
The very most I would miss my ability to have instant communication with my kids. That is something I think about previous generations, because here's something you and I don't understand. While we have a foot in the camp of pre-internet and post-internet, what we don't have a foot firmly in is parenthood in a world without the internet. And I think about it, the street, when you came home when the street lights came on, right? And
if they didn't come home when the streetlights came on, you'd start calling neighbors. Like, you didn't.
Have you seen
really,
so-and-so? Yeah, exactly. You picked up your landline.
Get out and drive around the neighborhood looking for your, that's terrifying.
I can't.
Now I got Life 360. I can be like, oh, they're right here.
Exactly.
It's
what I'm saying. And so that's a luxury that if that was taken from me, I would be.
That would be rough.
And my kids are adults, and I would be a constant miss. But especially when they were younger, dude, like I was just a nervous wreck all the time. That would be my number one thing, is the ability to instantly communicate with my loved ones. Like, that is, you know what I mean? That's the number one thing.
That's really good. That is really good.
That's like, it gives me anxiety thinking about it. Yeah.
I know. We'll okay. Yeah. We'll move on. Because speaking of not having this podcast.
Okay. Let's segue into it.
I did it again, didn't I? With the door in your face technique.
Yeah.
I did this on our Discord pre-show with our patrons.
I did it again, guys.
I did it again. I just scared everybody, made their hearts skip. You guys know that we're now currently on season 3.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know how
you
vocal
did. You got everybody
been.
to think we were canceling the show. He's such a jerk. He did this in the pre-show, which if you haven't checked it out, you got to check out the description and become a patron and join our pre-show, our private pre-show. It's a lot of fun.
Which we won't be doing for the next 6 weeks or so,
ish, give or take something.
Because it is that time. We've done how many? 18?
I think
if we include this one.
Somebody said this is 19 in this season.
19 episodes.
But a total
this season?
of 174 episodes. My goodness.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, when we kind of get to this point, we've already kind of like exhausted our guest list for the season, and we kind of need some time to recoup. It's summertime. Our kids are home. Vacations are happening. Vacations.
Yeah, vacation. Yeah.
Vacations. Let's say that word. That's more fun.
Yay! Vacation.
And so we talked about it, and we said, you know what? Instead of just trying to power through, and we're a little bit behind with all the travel as well. Let's take some time and just like build up a cool, great show list for another season. So that's kind of the plan right now. This will be the last podcast for a few weeks.
Dude, she knows when the podcast is
ending.
Does. It blows
she knows
my
the
mind.
wrap-up speech. Prim is up.
It blows my mind.
But yeah, so to let you guys know, this is the last one of season 3. And we're going to take about 6 weeks off. We're just loosely saying 6 weeks. We'll
very excited.
We'll do it by feels too. But yeah, we are already working on a topic list and a guest list for episodes for season 4
very
that we're
unique.
We're crazy excited about.
Yeah,
because some of the things we've been talking about over the past couple seasons about things we wanted to do with this podcast, kind of branching out and things are going to come to fruition. Moving forward in season 4. So you get to see a bit of a taste of what we envisioned when we had all those discussions. So I'm excited for it. We are going to miss you guys incredibly. Like we just talked about,
weird.
Like this experience is something I love doing and I love, being able to provide this podcast, but mainly get the feedback from you guys.
Yeah, because we've sort of lost sight of our own in regards to how many episodes that we've done and how long we've been doing this. We just know that we've been loving it the whole time, but we're keenly aware that a lot of you viewers are, you might be relatively new. So while we're gone, make sure you're checking out these episodes right here, because we went out and just kind of grabbed 4 of them real quick that we might, one right, maybe right there. Maybe this is a good one, dude. That's
that one.
Oh, that dude. No way.
They're both good.
That guy. Yeah,
They're
I
both
don't know
really
what we're
good.
gonna put up there, but no, we did grab a handful that if you missed it, it's something you're gonna want to make sure that you do not miss entirely. So enjoy those.
Yeah.
While we're gone, but we will be back, like you said, about 6 weeks, give or take something. And I'm excited.
We're gonna enjoy our
I'm already
summer.
excited to come back.
We're
too.
gonna we're gonna enjoy our time off and obviously take some time to plan, make sure season 4 is a real banger. I felt like the season was also really good.
Yeah.
Also, you know what I'd like to do? I want to, we talked about streaming and playing the Subnautica 2 game. Like that was super fun. I'd like to, more summertime streams,
Totally.
Together. So, yeah. Yes. Together with other friends as well. We've got
of course.
We got so many friends we've made on the internet.
We're very popular.
So I'm hoping more stream time. So if you're only familiar with our podcast, we stream on Twitch, both of us. Links I think are in the description for that maybe, or we'll put them in just
that's actually a good idea.
If you guys want to catch us elsewhere during this break, we'll give you links to do that.
We stream individually and sometimes we collab on things, which is what we mentioned Subnautica. We just started that collab. I can't wait. We're streaming again tomorrow. I can't wait.
Yeah.
That game is so much fun, but
Prim is not going to miss the podcast.
No, Prim does not like podcasting.
She does not like it when I set all the stuff up.
But she gets to see Uncle Skizz.
But she does. That is the reward. After everything's set up, she comes in and is very excited to see Skizz walk into the studio.
I don't think our dogs can ever meet each other because you don't know. When I go home, my dogs are like the sniffing is unreal when I go home from podcast day.
A little jelly.
Yeah.
A little jelly of Prim. But anyway, that's the announcement is we'll be gone for a little while, but we will be back. So sorry if I gave you a bit of a heart attack there. Door in your slam the door in your face technique.
It's a salesman. Neither one of us ever did sales,
Dirty
but we
salesman.
learned about it. It's a psychology trick and it's mean.
It's mean. I'm so sorry.
That's why he leans into it.
I'm not mean.
That's it. We'll see you guys in a little bit. Thanks for sticking around this season.
Bye-bye.